Howdy, this is Organic Dairyman, and today is Saturday, January 26th. And how is everybody today? Hope everybody's been enjoying their weekend and your day is going good so far. Yeah, so I thought I had a little bit of time here, and I know I said I wasn't going to do a video, but yeah, I have a little bit of time here, so I thought I was going to do a quick video today, or try to make it quick. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to touch a little bit on that last video. The one video that I did about the twin calves being born, you know, and the sub-zero temperatures and things like that, and the simple fact that I know maybe I kind of left people with the impression that it wasn't a big deal that the calf died. Yes, it was a big deal. The calf was worth something. Just because it wasn't worth a lot didn't mean I didn't care that it died. I cared that calf died. You know, there's a guy that he would have paid us probably $65 for that calf. You know, $65, you know, I could have had, but I won't. And you know, at the time, you know, we made a judgment call. It was the best judgment call that we made. We've had calves, you know, like that before come in. They're cold, and we put straw. We lay some straw down on the concrete, and then put the calf down there and cover it in straw. You know, we've had calves like that have turned out just fine. You know, by doing it that way. And yeah, so yeah, I mean, I kind of figured, you know, when I put that video out, I might have a little bit of criticism. I knew somebody would probably say about using a calf warmer or a calf incubator or whatever. And yes, if we would have had one, we would have used it. That would have been the first thing we would have used. I do know about them. I've seen them advertised in dairy magazines, you know, so I'm well aware. I don't know what they cost, but it's so seldom that we'd probably ever use one. Yes, they would come in handy. And like I say, we had a judgment call to make that day, and that was, you know, and I felt at the time that calf was going to be fine. I felt that calf was going to live. You know, I felt that it was going to be fine. So obviously hindsight is 20/20, you know, and if knowing what I know now, we would have done things a little bit differently. And I know somebody mentioned putting heat lamps. Well, I guess we didn't have any heat lamps, but you know, like I said, the only thing we could have done is maybe fill up some bottles. We could have filled up some bottles of warm water, got up to 100 degrees, you know, or at least the body temperature, and put those around the calf. Or, you know, maybe, you know, we could have done things like that, and got a blanket and put on over the calf. You know, we could have done all that. The calf still could have died. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't have died if we had done that. I don't know. But I felt that what we had done at that time was the best thing for that calf, and I felt that it was going to be fine. If I knew that it wasn't going to be fine, if I felt that wasn't, you know, we could have done more, I guess we would have done more. And none of that, but that wasn't the only thing we had going on that day too. We were dealing with, you know, that milk pump thing over there, and you know, we didn't know that thing. You know, we had to milk cows, and that thing could, you know, the service guy didn't get here right away. That thing could have stuck. You know, there's things like that. We were dealing with that thing too, so it wasn't like the only thing we had on our plate to deal with that day. And you know, and like I said, I wasn't out. I hope I didn't, you know, I apologize if I left people with the impression that I didn't care that calf died. I cared. I really did care that calf died, and so I apologize for that. You know, this is something we take very seriously. We're not cold-hearted. We're not you know, cold-hearted dairy farmers. You know, we do take a lot of care of our, you know, we do care about the calves. You know, obviously when we bred that cow, and we only anticipated getting one calf out of that cow, I never anticipated getting twins out of that cow. You know, yes, it would have been nice to get an extra $65 for that other calf, but I guess, you know, it's tragic. It's a tragic loss that we lost the calf, but at the same time, you know, I'm very thankful that the other calf didn't die either. So, you know, it could have been worse. Both calves could have died. You know, just that they were twins, and As soon as we saw that she had calved, we went and got the calf down here. That was the first calf we brought in here. We covered it up right away. We brought it in the warm barn, and we did. It's not like we left the calf up there to say, oh, it's gonna die. Might as well just, maybe we should just go have gotten the gun and shot it and said, put it out of its misery, But we did. We brought it down here and we gave it, we gave it a fighting chance, and I honestly felt that it was gonna live. I know, I've heard of some dairy farmers, like when the price of bull calves gets down to, one time it was down to like $25 or something like that. I've heard of dairy farmers just shooting the bull calves because, because they felt they were money had to shoot it rather than spend the money on feeding it milk. And, we've never done that, and I would never encourage anybody to do that. But I'm just saying, there are dairy farms, I've heard of it happening on some bigger dairy farms where they do that. They just shoot the calves when the bull calf price gets really cheap. That's what they do. That's what some of them do. I would never do that, because even if it's $25, it's $25, so, but it happens, and but I'm just doing these videos to show people what can happen, what goes on in a dairy farm. Sometimes we make mistakes, and if I could go back and do it over again, I definitely would have done things different with that bull calf or that free Martin heifer. I would have done things differently. I learned from my mistakes. I make it a point not to make the same mistake twice. Next time, like I say, we'll try. If that ever happens again, we'll take preventative measures to try to keep that calf warm and to save its life. But sometimes you can only do so much. You try your hardest and you can't. There's times in the past where we've done extraordinary measures to save the life of a calf. Sick calves or sick cows. There was a bull calf one time. It was probably like 250 pound calf. And it got coccidiosis. For those who don't know what coccidiosis is, it's a parasite that lives in their GI tract, and it can kill them. It pulls them down. It sucks nutrients from their body. And anyways, that calf, that calf I thought that calf was gonna die. I seriously thought it was gonna die. But I took it and we worked with that calf. We put it back. It was a weaned calf already. It was all weaned. And I took and fed that calf. We moved it back into a baby calf pen, and we fed it milk. We treated it for its coccidiosis, and I took a straw bale and I lifted that calf up every day. I don't know if I did that for 2 weeks. Every day, twice a day, I went there and babied that calf, and by golly, that calf had got better. And then we ended up selling it as a fat steer. We got whatever $1,200 out of it. So I don't want people to think that we don't care about calves. We have gone through extraordinary measures in the past to save a calf's life. We've gone above and beyond, and I just want everybody to know that we do care. We do care about the health and the well-being of the animals on this farm. It is a big deal, and like I said, I apologize if I made it sound like it wasn't a big deal. It is. It's a big deal. It's still money in your pocket. But sometimes, you make a judgment call, and you hope it's the right one. Sometimes it's not. I would say that day we made a bad judgment call, and the calf died because of it. This isn't the first time. It's not like we don't know what we're doing. We know what we're doing. I've been dairy farming for many years, and all the times that we've done this, the calf has lived. This time it didn't work out, and sometimes that's how you base things off your experience and what you've dealt with before. Every dairy farmer's been there, done that. They've had things happen. They've learned from their mistakes. I remember growing up as a kid, I seen my dad do some dumb things sometimes with cows and calves, and he lost cows and calves, and he'd been farming longer than he'd been farming for quite a long time too, and I could remember a few different times when my dad he made some he made some dumb mistakes. That's all I'll say. He lost calves. He lost a cow one time. I remember doing something, and he probably should. I don't know why my dad did that one time, but apparently he did, and it ended up, I'm gonna turn you guys here a little bit. Yeah, so he ended up, losing animals too. So everybody makes mistakes, but as long as you learn from them, it's just experience. That's what it is. I gained some, I don't claim to know everything about dairy farming, even though we've been dairy farming for many years. We're still learning things, I've seen people that, do things that I thought, man, why do they do things that way? I've seen people that starve their animals, they don't know. Some people don't know any different. And they think by doing what they're doing is perfectly fine, but they don't know if they're starving their animals. It's just however you were raised. However your parents taught you how to do things is how you do things on your farm usually. So that's kind of how it works out. Like I said, I know I've seen people that literally they, if I walked into their farm, I would think to myself, what the heck are these people doing? I mean, they're starving their cows. But if you talk to them, they wouldn't think they were doing anything wrong. They just don't know any different because that's how they were raised. That happens, But, I mean, there were things that we used to do that I look back on now and I think to myself, why did we do things that way? We used to have a lot of health problems in our herd, and we used to have a lot of cases of ketosis and cows coming down with DAs, and we didn't know what we were doing wrong, and finally we got to the point where we just said, we got to get some answers someplace. I mean, so we called somebody and that could give us the answers, and we started changing things in our herd, and things got better, and we dramatically improved our herd health because of it. We don't have those problems anymore. But I look back on that and I say, how could we have not known that? Well, we didn't know it because nobody told us. That's kind of how it works. But this was a learning experience for us. We made a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect, Like I say, it's just part of life, part of experience, the experience of life, and I guess. But I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I am not pointing fingers at anybody. I did expect to get some criticism. I expected it was going to happen, but I didn't have to include that in the video. I could have edited all that out of the video, but I left it in the video because I wanted people to know, people that are especially that are not familiar with how dairy farms work, because I'm trying to educate people, and I want people to understand that sometimes you do make bad mistakes, and you have to live with those mistakes. Sometimes they're costly mistakes, and you have to live with them. And I mean, I feel bad that calf died. Personally, I do. I feel bad about it. I'm not a calf. We're not calf killers. I feel bad about it, and I know everybody that's a dairy farmer that's watching this video, you've been, like I said, you've been there, you've done that, you've had it happen, and you've made mistakes, and you've learned from those mistakes, and all you can do is, try not to make the same mistake twice. That's all you can do, and it happens, and so goes life, but that's a sad reality. I mean, sometimes you can only control so much. Some things are just beyond your control, and you can't be everywhere all the time. You have other obligations you have to attend to, and I've been there before. We've had fresh heifers that have calved, and they've pinched a nerve and they're paralyzed. They can't walk, and it's on a day where maybe you're ready to start planting corn or small grain or plant your corn, and there's rain in the forecast, and all of a sudden this heifer, pinches a nerve and she can't get up, and then all of a sudden you have to sit there and work with that heifer. You have to try to get the hip lift up, and you have to try to get in the barn. Maybe you can't get in the barn, and you have to deal with that. Anybody that's never been on a dairy farm doesn't know what that's like. I mean, it is very stressful, and you're under the gun. You got to get your crop in the ground, but you got to deal with that heifer at the same time, and you're just ready to pull your hair out, and but you have to deal with that heifer. It has to get done, and so everything else gets put in the back burner. Maybe you don't get your corn planted that day, and it sets you back a whole week, because you had to deal with that fresh heifer that pinched a nerve, that's partially paralyzed. She can't get up, and so you got to nurse that heifer back to health. It's physical therapy. We're performing physical therapy on a 1,200-pound animal. It's not easy to try to do that. Anybody that's watching this in the dairy farm, you know what I'm talking about. You've had to deal with that stuff before. Animals are heavy. It's hard to deal with animals sometimes, but. But I just want people to know that, we do care, and I personally, like I say, I feel bad about it, and, I learned something, and I appreciate positive feedback. I appreciate everybody that, had positive things to say, and, gave advice. That's what I look for in I don't like, I want to call it destructive criticism, when people are out to destroy you because of something. I like positive feedback. If somebody has something good to say, and advice, maybe, try that, try this. I don't mind that. I don't mind constructive criticism. I mean, but, it is what it is, and like I say, I've gotten criticized on YouTube before about things, and normally I don't do videos about it, but this time I want to do a video about it because I want to make people, I just want to set the record straight that we do care, and like I said, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I'm not, I'm not mad about it, but I just want to make sure, that people understand what goes on in a dairy farm. I mean, it's a hard life. Dairy farming is not an easy life. It's a way of life. Sometimes it's not just a business. It's a way of life. It's how you live. It's what we have to deal with. You have things that happen, and you just you take things in stride sometimes, and it is you deal with it however it comes. But I guess I gotta get going here, but yeah. So like I say, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I'm not mad or upset with anybody that negatively criticized me about it, but I just want everyone out there to realize that we do care, we do take it seriously. I wasn't out to make it sound that way, but so anyways, that's all I've got time for here today, and so sorry if I babbled on and bored you guys about this, lectured you. I wasn't trying to lecture anybody, but yeah. So please like, rate, comment, and subscribe for more. And check me out on Instagram and Twitter. Thanks so much, everybody that subscribed to my channel. I do appreciate each and every one of you. And thanks for watching. And I hope you learned something from this video and have a better understanding from my viewpoint. Yeah, so that's it for today. So yeah, I'll catch you later.